bringing to you. Every time we turn live, man, you know it's the truth. Every after show, moving down. This the time we move around. No Gimmicks podcast is going down. Every night, every time in the ring. This is the time for the No Gimmicks. No, we doing our thing. What's your state of mind? State divine. Moving down a statement when we take the line. This is exactly wrestling the state design. When you see Stone Cold like me, with the stunner in the world, exactly, man, what we bring. Every night we move like Brock Lesnar. The F5, No Gimmicks. We take you to your limit. What's the feeling? When we live in the air, you know we on. That's the time. Guarantee we move. You know how we respond. The state is mine. The state design when we feel it. Moving down, what's the healing? No Gimmicks.
Yo, what is up, people? Welcome back to the No Gimmicks here on the DFPN. I am your host, Blak Makk, along with Frank D. Or did you figure out a name yet?
No, it's still a work in progress. So I'm still the fabulous one, the fabulous Frankie D. Yeah.
I was prepared to give you another alias tonight.
Yeah, well, we're still working on that. It's a work in progress, bro.
All right.
So I appreciate it. Yeah.
All right. Until then, we have the fabulous one, Frankie D, in the building.
Right. That's right. Yes.
And we are first and foremost, before we get into the show tonight, I do want to thank the people of the No Gimmicks podcast fan group that we have on Facebook. We shared a post earlier this week, and they responded in kind. So much so that group put us back on the charts in the top 200 of podcasts, wrestling podcasts. So shout out to the No Gimmicks fan group. Shout out to all the listeners out there that support the brand. We appreciate that very much. That was very cool to see happen real time. So very good week that we had charts wise. So thank you to the group. But I would be remiss but then say we put in some work for that. Yeah. We put in some real work for that.
Well, we're always putting in work around the DFPN, not only the No Gimmicks podcast, but the Smoke Pit and all the shenanigans over there. Plus, you got the USDN, you got the Queens of Nerdom, you got the Patio with Kim, you got the Salute podcast. You got a lot of different variety when it comes to the DFPN and what we bring to the table. And I will say that we are putting out consistently some of the best entertaining podcasts out there, bar none.
This has been a very good year for the network. It has been a very good year in terms of growth, in terms of what the product that we're putting out. And I believe 2024 is going to be that year for us. I really do. I'm really excited about 2024. As much as I was for this year and seeing how this year turned out, I'm like over the moon excited for next year. I cannot wait.
So, yeah, we've been consistently, like I said, building our brands, basically trying to find our footing in this landscape, which has, thousands upon thousands of different podcasts out there, and specifically the genre of professional wrestling. And I believe that we are putting out a great product. We put a lot of work into the No Gimmicks podcast. We put a lot of work into wrestling with our thoughts previously. I know that I put a lot of work into, and myself and Steve Gurrick and Teddy Long, when we were doing Gurrick Report podcast, put a lot into that. So it's always been consistent when it comes to anybody that I associate with. We always are on the top of our game. And that's pretty much what we do here, and that's what we will continue to do here, and that's what everybody here does at the DFPN. And if you're not supporting the DFPN, I'm talking about listening to our podcast wherever you can listen to podcasts, reviewing our shows, giving us that 5-star that we deserve, that we work hard for. The Patreon is out there as well. $3 gets you unlimited access to our content before it gets played anywhere else. Uncensored, uncut, all that. You name it, we got it. It's a DFPN right there. Patreon is where it's at. So you got to go out there and subscribe to that. And don't take my word for it. Go out there and do it, because you're going to be highly entertained. I mean, we got a lot of different stuff. We got the pro wrestling right here. We got we sometimes we delve into politics, but not too much. We got entertainment that we delve into. We got the nerds that do Star Wars, which look at me. We I've gone on that show. I'm saying, a couple of times. We have such a variety. We are, when it comes to podcasting, and I don't care what anybody else says. When it comes to podcasting, we are shit. Period.
Point blank. Period.
Period. That's the bottom line.
I have to agree with that. Speaking of the Patreon, this show is on the Patreon tonight. So if you're hearing our voices, that means you are not watching us live. So to watch us live, get on over to the Patreon. Again, $3 a month, man. It gets you interacting with these podcasts. So come on over, patreon.com/thatfeelingpodcast. We do have the Bandcamp as well, thatfeeling.bandcamp.com. We also a brand new sponsor for the podcast, and that's Cons Customs Creations. Follow her on IG at cons_customs creations, and on Facebook at Cons Custom Creations Facebook page. So shout out to her. She did a couple of the new No Gimmick shirts. One in particular was worn by Maya World during her, I want to call it a mini feud with Izzy that garnered the attention of Mercedes Moné. She was wearing that shirt that was made by Cons Custom Creations. So make sure you go follow her on IG, follow her on Facebook, and thank you for the sponsorship for the month of November. Let's get into the show, man. For this month, we got, for this show in particular, we decided that we wanted to go retro. And we talked about it before the show. And going retro, yesterday was Halloween. Knowing that we normally record these on Tuesdays, but this year Halloween fell on a Tuesday. We wanted to go out and celebrate, put the costumes on. What did you dress up for as Halloween?
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about that. So normally when it comes to Halloween, that's my thing. All right, people enjoy Christmas and all that. Halloween is my thing. That is my month. My birthday is October, so 17th, whatever. So it's my month. So usually when it comes to doing Halloween, I'm usually Michael Myers every single year. And I actually had a guy, the Blackest Eyes FX, find him out there. He's on Facebook and he's also on Etsy. The Blackest Eyes FX did me 2 coveralls. He did me a pair of 78 Myers coveralls, and he also did me a pair of the Halloween 2 coveralls with the bullet holes in them. And I commissioned him to do those coveralls for me, and he did a good job. And then I had another mask commissioned that's basically like the Dick Warlock mask from Halloween 2, Michael Myers mask. And that came from a guy named a company called Graveside Productions, also on Etsy. Check it out. Go do business with them. They're top-notch guys. And then I got to thinking one day, I was talking, and I'm like, I really want to be Vader this year. So I started doing my research on Vader. How can I do this? And this is crazy. So listen, this podcast tonight is going to be a little bit different because I got to tell the story. So when I originally started the whole thing of getting the costume together to be Darth Vader, I got a costume on Amazon from a company called X Causer, and it was a Darth Vader costume. Now I'm like, let me see what this is going to be, right? So I get the suit. Now I didn't realize this. The suit actually is made in China, so you already know the sizing is going to be a bit different here in the United States.
Yeah.
So I got the suit, and I'm like, oh man, this is packaged really well. The bodysuit is phenomenal. The rest of the accessories, not so much. So, but the bodysuit was phenomenal. So I opened the bodysuit up, and I'm about to put it on. I'm like, this motherfucker won't fit. So I'm like, damn. I'm like, this damn suit costs me like $200. It don't fit. So I had to ship it up and send it back. So I'm like, this sucks. So then I was on eBay, and I found another suit, and this is the one that they sell at Party City, right? So it
Right.
fit, but it's like it fit, but it's like, ah man, I want to be Darth Vader, but like, damn, I don't. This suit here, I don't know about this one. This is just like a little. It's one of those like suits that you wear like if you were a kid. You feel me? That's kind of what it is. It's an adult size. I mean, if the chest box lights up, it's cool if you want to go that route. But I'm like, bro, I'm Frank D. I don't roll like that. So I had to. I went ahead and went to my favorite place to go to, and that's Etsy. And I started typing in Darth Vader and Darth Vader costumes and shit like that. So I found some makers that make the stuff. You cannot
Hmm.
find anybody really here in the United States that will make you Darth Vader outfits, like the suit and all that shit. So I had to. I got the suit made from a company called uh, Batwing Effects or some shit. So they made the bodysuit. It's two pieces basically: it's leather pants, the leather uh, shirt, and it is open in the back with mesh, so you can, because Vader suit's very hot. Then
Right.
I had the tunic made, which is the inner robe, and then I had the cape made. Both the cape and the tunic were wool, just like it's supposed to be, like in the movie. So that came. We had a little snafu because I ordered chest armor from him. That was a bunch of bullshit. I got a refund on that, and then I had another person. It's a store on Etsy called Grace Cosplay Store. She made my belt and my chest box, which was molded
Hmm.
after The Empire Strikes Back, which is the blue light with the red light. So
Right.
that's what pretty much what I had. Now the other problem I ran into.
I saw this one.
So I was originally going to go and I was going to wear the Black Series helmet that they produced, and the Black Series Darth Vader helmet was made by I believe Hasbro, and it's a second helmet that they produced for this particular for Darth Vader.
Right.
So it was basically modded after the Obi-Wan Kenobi Darth Vader. I wasn't really trying to be a particular Vader. I just wanted to be Darth Vader. That's whatever.
That's the base. That's where
The
you
basic,
start. Yeah.
exactly. Not trying to get into the 501st yet. I'm working on it though. So, um, anyways, that damn thing don't fit. I literally got it, and I'm like, oh man, this thing looks is gorgeous here. This thing is cool, right? And
It does. It
I
looks amazing.
it looks amazing,
It
and it
does.
has the sound effects on it, and I'm like, oh, this is just the shit. I'm going to be the shit, right? I get the damn thing, and I'm trying to squeeze it on my head, like, ugh, and it's not fitting. And then I have the neck piece that you wrap around, and I'm like, it's like, ugh. So then I have the wife come over and try to put it on, and she's like, ugh, and I'm like, this, god damn it. So it's not fitting. The only thing that literally was fit is the dome, but that's without the helmet. So then, but the funny part about it is that she put the damn thing on perfectly. It fit her head fine. So I'm like, okay. So since you can fit the damn helmet, you're going to dress up right now as Darth Vader in my other suit that I had, the one, the cheap one. I said, you're going to dress up as Darth Vader. So she did. Gave her the lightsaber, did some videos. I thought it was pretty cool. Fast forward, I got to get another helmet, right? So some of these helmets are expensive, right?
Hell
So
yeah.
I'm like, what am I going to do? I need a helmet that's going to fit my noggin. I found one. It's from it's from EFX. It's called a New Hope helmet. Basically, that's what I
Mhm.
purchased, and this thing is great. It worked fine. So I'm like, okay, I got the costume. Then I ran into another issue. I ordered some Darth Vader wears shin armor on his
Mhm.
shins. I ordered those from a company. It was shipped from Italy. And when I got them, I said, these are not Darth Vader shin armor. I don't know what the hell these are, but they're not Darth Vader shin armor.
The
These are
sock.
like these are like if you want to go playing medieval times or some shit. That's what these are for. And on top of it, they didn't fit. So I immediately took them out and I immediately wrapped them back up and packaged them. I said, these are going back. So then I had to find somebody. So then I found this guy on Etsy, my best friend on Etsy. And he made me some shin armor. And he was in the UK. And he got to working right when I put the order in. And they were like 3D printed. It came out great. So then I had another issue, Blak. I had to find
What was that?
I had to find some boots. So I ordered some boots, and the boots I ordered. Now, once again, like I said, we're not trying to be in the 501st here. We're just trying to, Halloween.
Right.
So I originally ordered some boots, and the boots were cool. They looked real good. They would not zip up past my calf. So I'm like, what the hell? And I went on there and looked on Amazon where I got them from. And I'm like, oh, a lot of people have had this problem. Okay, cool. So I sent those back. I got some Gotham boots, Batman boots. Is pretty much what I got, and they worked out fine.
Now, do they match what you tried to go for?
Absolutely, because you're not. No one's really paying attention to the boots really, because the shin armor goes over the boots. Yeah, so you're not really paying attention to it. So basically, after that part, I'm like, I really. If I'm gonna do this, I gotta do it right. So then I started ordering some different equipment. So what I think I ordered what's called the Zoom Multi-Stop, which is the guitar pedal, is what I ordered. That is what a lot of cosplayers use to make their voice, try to mimic James Earl Jones, which you can't, but it changes your voice enough to be Darth Vader. So I purchased about 2 amplifiers. One of them was to make the Darth Vader breathing sound, and then the other one was for people to hear my voice. So I had the whole setup. So I put all this together. Then I got my chest armor, and I didn't really like the way it came out, to be honest. I got off work. I went to Walmart, bought 2 cans of spray paint, and I sprayed it, basically painted it the way that I wanted it, which was painted gunmetal. Made it black, but the parts that are black, just spray paint them, glossing them up, and then spray paint the other parts that were originally silver. I spray painted those gunmetal, and it came out perfect. It just looks phenomenal. And I had my suit, and so I was ready to go. It took the wife about 45 minutes to help me get dressed. And I was ready to go. Had all my shit on. I was out, and then people started coming up, and the little kids were like, "Oh my God, Darth Vader, Darth Vader!" And some Jedi came around or whatever, and it was just fun, man. Like it was crazy. She was dressed up as Din Djarin, Mandalorian, so she had the Grogu on her hip. So it was fun, man. It was cool. It was a very cool experience, and I really. Want to join the 501st. I really want to be a part of that because the 501st does a lot of charity work, and I'm like, just seeing my interaction last night with the younglings, the little kids, and how they were last night and how they were happy, to see Darth Vader and all that. I'm like, I really want to take this and go on the road. I want to go to visit sick kids in the hospital, and
that's awesome, man.
Do some charity stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I'm looking into that. So now I'm reading. I'm on the 501st Legion website because they have one here in South Texas. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking there to look at the detachments there to basically try to put my costume in order. I pretty much have a good idea of what to do, and it's just sky's the limit, man. So that's what I'm working on.
That's what's up, man. We do have a DFPN has a resident cosplayer now, so we may have to reach out to him. He's very well connected. And he has a lot of those connections. He also does cosplay for charity work as well. So I'll hook you up with a contact, bro. That's some good shit, man. I'm glad you found that. I'm glad you took to it because it seems like you happy as fuck doing it.
Yeah, no, it's like that's my thing, dude. It's like, and I wasn't even a Star Wars fan like that before. Like I used to be, man. I used to be one of these people where I was like, real.
How the hell? How did you get into Star Wars?
it was New Year's 2015, and we decided like we're just gonna stay in the house and like, what do you want to do? My wife's like, oh, let's just watch Star Wars. I'm like, I don't want to watch that shit. I was like, I said, real dudes don't watch Star Wars. Real dudes, real dudes in the hood don't watch Star Wars, right? So
look at you now.
yeah, we watched it in machete order, and
Okay.
I saw it and I'm like, oh shit, right? And it was like one after the other. I'm like, okay, all right. So ever since then, I've been hooked on it, and
That's cool.
I watched all the shit. Like, yeah, there's
Yeah.
like there's two things that you get me on. That's horror and Star Wars. Third is wrestling.
That's cool.
Wrestling used to be number one, but
Yeah.
now number one is Star Wars. Number two is horror. Number three is wrestling.
That's cool, man. Yeah. Again, I'm glad you found it because that's some cool shit. And I know building that shit wasn't easy.
Yeah.
Classic. What you're describing is the classic cosplayer. Like that's everything that they go through.
Yeah.
And then some people get to building their shit, and you'll get there one day. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, I'm determined. I am determined.
Cool shit, man. But that's a cool Halloween story. I was just me. I stood outside and passed out candy, but
that's cool.
I got home. Cool. I got home pretty late yesterday, so. And this is the first year that I didn't have to go trick or treating, so I took full advantage, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I told my kids was like, Kimani was like, I don't want to go. I was like, yes, yes, let's stay home. I'm happy, but yeah, man, cool shit.
Yeah.
All right, man, let's get into the show. This show is in its entirety. We're gonna be we're gonna call this a retro show, but we're gonna take a look back at one of the classic WCW pay-per-views. Came around at a time where the industry had just got turned on its head by the events of Bash at the Beach, and this was kind of the steady flow of the aftermath, so to speak. But tonight we're going to be looking at Halloween Havoc 1996. We had debated this show because we said we wanted to look at a Halloween Havoc, and I was torn in between two, and it was this one in 97. And I was like, I like 96. We both agreed on 96. And I was like, I like 97 because it has one of my favorite matches ever. But as a whole, I think I like the pay-per-view from 96 better. So,
I think as a whole, when you compare 96, 97, 98 Halloween Havocs, 96 to me is always going to be the stronger show.
Yeah.
96 had they had better matches. Halloween Havoc 97 had two matches on it that I would say
probably the worst matches.
well, Halloween Havoc had two matches on it that I say would save the show.
Oh yeah, true.
That saved it was it had Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio.
Yep.
And Macho Man versus Diamond Dallas Page, Las Vegas Sudden Death Match. Yep. I think the rest of the show, it was whatever. Halloween Havoc 98. That one right there was I don't know. That one is a mixed bag there. It was Warrior versus Hogan.
Yeah.
I think honestly the best matches on that show that me personally that I enjoyed had to be Scott Hall versus Kevin Nash and Diamond Dallas Page versus Goldberg. Those are and Bret Hart versus Sting.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one too.
Yeah.
That one, but I forgot about Diamond Dallas Page and Goldberg. That was probably at that time, probably one of the best WCW matches.
Yeah,
that they put on. So
yeah, that nobody saw.
Until Nitro. And yeah, they had to open up Nitro with the finish.
But what makes Halloween Havoc 96 a superior show and what's so special about it is because it is the early stages of the NWO.
Right.
It is pretty much Hogan and Macho Man, reigniting that feud from the WWF when they were the Mega Powers. It was Hall and Nash's first tag team title win over Harlem Heat.
Yep.
You had 6 on there versus Chris Jericho.
This was a stacked card.
It's a solid show, solid card. You know what I'm saying? You know, and then you have the introduction of Roddy Piper into WCW TV, and Piper came in at a very good time. He had just come off the WWF television. You remember he was the president of the WWF, on-screen president. So he came into the WCW at a perfect time when things were just starting to cook over there, and we're about to get into it.
Let's get into it, man. We start with the opening, the WCW Cruiserweight Championship match between Dean Malenko and Rey Mysterio Jr. And this was, if I'm not mistaken, was this was a match where Mysterio, it was something with his mask.
So Dean Malenko, if I remember the TV leading up to this, Dean Malenko had been basically trying to get Mysterio's mask.
Right.
He actually attacked Rey Mysterio, I believe it was on the WCW Saturday night, the night before Halloween Havoc. He actually attacked him and took his mask, and Tony Schiavone had to cover Mysterio's face. So it was very personal from the jump.
Right.
Mysterio and Dean Malenko. And I thought at Halloween Havoc they had a phenomenal.
This was a classic technical versus high flyer match that just worked.
Yeah.
And this was also, for me, the precursor of what would happen the next year with him and Eddie Guerrero. I thought this was leading on to what, all right, you had a great match with Malenko. Now let's see what you do with Eddie Guerrero type of thing. But this was a banger of a match. Absolutely.
Yeah. No doubt.
Absolutely. Who got the win in that? Mysterio, right?
No, I believe it was Malenko.
Malenko got the win in that match?
I think he did, yeah. Yeah, I haven't watched it in a while, but let me look it up so I can be sure.
All right.
But I'm pretty sure. It was Malenko got the win on that one. Let's see.
Yeah, because in that match, I think Malenko won, but Mysterio ended up getting his mask back.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering that right.
Well, I'm looking it up right now, so bear with us. I'm using the Google machine. Because it's been a while since I actually sat down and watched it. I'm going basically by memory. So yeah, Dean Malenko won. Yeah, just saw it right now. He won.
Okay. So yeah, he picked up the victory in that match. But I do think that Mysterio ended up getting his mask back.
Yeah, I mean,
but to get it, he had to lose.
It was, it was just. It probably was a situation where they were trying to make the issue personal between the two, and they succeeded. So
yeah, pretty good match. Second match following suit, Diamond Dallas Page and Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, so this was about the Battle Bowl ring
that
Diamond Dallas Page had, and I remember DDP had been going through a real big transformation with his character for a while here. If you look at Diamond Dallas Page from '95, and then you take a look at him in '96, it's like a completely different guy. He was slowly, transitioning away from what you saw from the cigar and all that shit to really becoming the DDP that we would know. It was 5'5", exactly. So he was coming into his own. He had been feuding with the Guerreros. He had wrestled Chavo, I believe, on one of the Clash of Champions earlier in the year, and this was all stemming from the Battle Bowl ring. And it was a good match, and really showed off that Eddie and DDP really had they had good chemistry.
Chemistry.
I can't say that they had a bad match at all, and they would actually follow it up too, because they had another match. It was for the U.S. title, and that would happen in Starrcade '96 later in the year.
You know what? They've had a number of matches, but the one I remember, not besides this match in particular, there was a WCW Saturday Night match, and DDP was he was just leaving that old gimmick. And I think one of those first matches was with Eddie Guerrero. And to this day, the best variation of the Diamond Cutter I saw on that show.
Yeah, DDP was like, he was just doing his thing out there, man. You could tell that he was putting a lot of thought into his matches and finishes, and he would use WCW Saturday nights as pretty much like a training ground, really, to go out there
to go do his moves,
showcase, basically showcase, go out there and work the WCW Saturday night taping, getting you ready for Nitro, getting you ready for Thunder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, DDP was if there's a lot of people out there, you want to see some good DDP matches, go back.
WCW Saturday night. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
There's only 2 people that I knew did that. He was one of them. The other one was Chris Kanyon. He would use Saturday night to be like, innovate. How to innovate the offense. But yeah, that was a great match. The third match, the Giant versus Jeff Jarrett.
That's a very interesting one because if I remember correctly, this was for the U.S. Championship, right? So if people remember going into this show, they attacked Ric Flair. Ric Flair was a champion. But Ric Flair had a shoulder injury, so they had to write him off TV. And I remember he got his ass beat pretty much backstage by the NWO. And the Giant got the belt. Vincent took the belt. This is when they were beating Ric Flair in the back, and Nash was in the camera with the rag on, the bandana wrapped around his head like Tupac saying, "Thug life, baby, thug life." Woo! So Vincent had the belt, gave it to the Giant, told him, "This is for you." And the Giant had the belt. Giant was not recognized officially as the United States Championship, as a U.S. champion. And shortly after that, that's when Jeff Jarrett came into the WCW. And he came in a black limousine, so everybody assumed that Jarrett was going to be part of the NWO. Not so much. He came there to be a part of WCW. Came there to really hook up with the Four Horsemen is what he did. And the rest is history.
Yep. And the Giant, the finish to that match, I believe Ric Flair did end up coming out, low blowing the Giant, and got DQ'd.
Yeah.
Jeff Jarrett got DQ'd for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a great. These first 3 matches, I'm not gonna lie to you. These first 3 matches, and it speaks to the time, because at the time, you probably think like, this is an okay pay-per-view so far. It's going pretty good. But looking back at this shit, bro, like you have at least 6 Hall of Famers already.
Yeah, and it's like, and the dynamic about it was, the NWO, for instance, the Giant. This is one of the things I remember about this show when it comes to just, first of all, WCW to me, top notch. Always had the look and feel, the presentation.
It felt big, like
Halloween Havoc, right?
But Halloween Havoc,
set,
right?
Just the way it looked,
right? But Halloween Havoc is like, that was like WCW's WrestleMania.
Absolutely, and a lot of people like, they were on the impression that Starrcade was their WrestleMania. No, Eric Bischoff said that Halloween Havoc was their WrestleMania. That was their show.
It felt like it.
Yeah, they weren't really concerned that much about Starrcade. Starrcade was just a blow off at the end of the year. You know what I'm saying? Halloween Havoc was their show. So one of the things I remember about this particular show was the NWO came through the crowd for their entrance, and I thought that was so good because I really hated when the NWO when they would come through the entrance like WCW wrestlers. So when you kept them coming through the crowd at this show, the NWO, like if you remember, Ted DiBiase was announcing the NWO guys, and they had a big NWO banner at the top, and they would come down through the concourse, and I'm like, this is cool shit. This was like guerrilla warfare type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I love that aspect from the production wise, and just the graveyard and all that. I mean, WCW really captured what it was for Halloween Havoc. They really did.
They really did.
And the sets got better. I remember they had a big ass pumpkin for '98. Yeah, it was just top notch, man. I miss the creativity that we used to have with.
They did. They really did have some creative sets. They really did.
Yeah.
And the one that stands out to me, honestly, is 97. 97 set to me for Halloween Havoc. I don't know why, but it's ingrained in my memory. I have no idea why, but it's just there.
Yeah.
Like I could picture it. I can picture myself watching the pay-per-view, and I'm like just looking at the set, like, damn, that shit is tight. That shit. I like it. But yeah, speaking of the NWO entrances, Six versus Chris Jericho.
What a match that was. What a match that was.
Underrated match.
Underrated match at the time. Two underrated performers. A lot of people don't really understand how important and valuable Sean Waltman was to the NWO making it work. And a lot of people, I think, is like, oh, it's just a 1, 2, 3 kid or whatever. Nah, it was more than that. I mean, Waltman did a lot of cool shit. Waltman was responsible for this. That was his thing. The Turkish Wolf was his thing. You know what I'm saying? So he brought a lot to it. Chris Jericho, babyface Chris Jericho out there. I remember that. And looking back at it now, like, damn, who knew Jericho had, all that in him? When he
looking at it back then, you could not tell. You could not tell that he would end up becoming what he is today. You know what I mean? Like, and I have to agree with you. Six at that time, very underrated member of the NWO.
Yeah.
Very underrated member of the NWO. But yeah, agreed. And this featured a Nick Patrick spot.
So and that's the thing. So this match here was basically like a filler because they were telling a story with Nick Patrick and Chris Jericho, because Nick Patrick and Chris Jericho would then have a match next month at World War III, in which my man Teddy Long would accompany Chris Jericho to ringside during that match. So everybody knows Nick Patrick. Nick Patrick was the NWO referee.
Yep, exactly.
He could deny it all he wants at the time.
He
could deny it all he wants. But he was the NWO referee, the NWO Saturday night segments. He's on there wearing a damn ski mask. So that's all that's all Nick Patrick. It's just such fun shit, man.
What's funny? There's a local promotion out here, MPX Wrestling. They are running an angle similar to this. Now that we're talking about this whole Nick Patrick angle.
Yeah.
They're running an angle similar to this, to where they have this group, this faction called the Texas Wrestling Commission.
Okay.
And they have a referee in their pocket.
I like it.
And I was like, that's cool, because that's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of this. It reminds me a lot of that. But yeah, that angle was really cool. I like that. All right, so next match, another great match. Lex Luger versus Arn Anderson.
Yeah, so this one is very, very interesting, because what a lot of people didn't know is that this was around the time when Arn Anderson was really starting to suffer his neck issues, and he went into his match with Luger, and this match here stems from the Horsemen had an issue with Luger, because Luger basically, they blamed him for what happened with Sting. If he would have believed Sting, then they would have won War Games and all that. So that's pretty much where the story came from. They had a problem with Luger because of War Games and with Sting or whatever. So this match here was one of Arn's last matches on pay-per-view. And I believe, I'm not sure. I think Luger got the win on this one, I believe.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe he did.
Yeah, and if he, but the thing that I remember from the match was the brutality, because I believe Luger went into the match with busted up ribs or something like that. That's he had taped ribs, so he had that.
And he was trying to hit the torture rack. That was yeah. And then he was finally able to do it, and then He wins the match, and then I think afterwards they play on the injury.
Yeah,
line.
yeah. And then the next night on I believe the next night on Nitro, I think Luger attacked Anderson with the steel chair,
Yeah.
which is what took Anderson out storyline wise. So, um, yeah, I remember that part about it, and I remember not seeing Anderson for a while after that because of the injury, and unfortunately his career was cut short.
Yeah. Sad.
Yeah.
Sad. Because again, he was very, very technical. I really love the enforcer role.
Arn Anderson Arn Anderson did two moves that I really enjoyed watching him do. He's the only one who can do these spots. The spine buster spot,
Exactly.
and then when he would hit a DDT. And I mean,
I was thinking that too. I was I know the spine buster, but the DDT was just as deadly.
Yeah, Jake the Snake Roberts, of course, hits the best DDT, followed by Raven with the even flow. But the way Arn Anderson would hit a DDT, my God, hit the way he would kill you. But it was probably the safest bump that you could take because of the way he's doing it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But it just looked brutal on TV. Like, God damn, he messed him up.
He's out.
So, yeah,
he's
out. Anderson I always loved Anderson's work. He was yeah, and it just sucks that it got cut short the way it did.
Yeah, it is. But look for a minute. Let's talk about card flow on this card, because WCW at that time was doing something that I wish happened today.
Yeah,
because they were able to feature stories that they had built on and brought them into a pay-per-view. And not only that, during this card, so we leave from an NWO match to a Four Horsemen match.
Yeah.
Right? And then we go NWO, Four Horsemen. The next match is another Four Horsemen at that time. Or were they Four Horsemen yet?
What was that?
Mongo and Benoit.
Yeah, they were horsemen.
They were horsemen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, we're flowing from horsemen to horsemen. Mongo and Benoit versus the Faces of Fear.
Yeah. So and then you look at I mean, shit, man. I mean, what more can you say? The Faces of Fear. And that plays into once again the story that they were telling with Kevin Sullivan and Benoit, because that's basically Horseman versus Dungeon of Doom.
Right.
And so like I said, everything that they're doing here with the card, and I'm pretty sure Dusty Rhodes had a lot to do with the card, and so did Kevin Sullivan because he was doing creative in the matches. So everything is like you say, has been done for a reason. It's very methodical the way they're doing it and the build up, because they're giving you these matches. They're giving you the matches, but they're leading to the big stuff.
Correct.
They're leading to the matches on the card, which is going to be the Outsiders versus Harlem Heat and the Hogan versus Savage match, which is going to have the big angle at the end. So they knew how to pace the card very, very well.
Very well, and it just grew bigger until you get to the end, and it's like the biggest match you could possibly have on a card.
Right.
I loved how they did that, and they were consistent at doing that too.
Yeah. Yeah, they always would have WCW would always produce a match, the first match of the night, which was to get the fans excited for the rest of the show. It's like, follow this.
Right.
And that's what they would do a lot of. And you see that consistently through 96 and 97. And the best matches that you would see on the card that would start off would be the ones involving the cruiserweights. Just like we saw with Dean Malenko and Rey Mysterio.
Yep. Exactly. But yeah, let's get to this Steve Mongo McMichael and Chris Benoit versus the Faces of Fear.
Yeah, so Mongo McMichael was not the best wrestler in the world. We know that, but it's funny as hell when he'd be out there taking bumps. But let me say this about Mongo. So the thing with Mongo is Mongo came in and he was a color commentator, of course, with Eric Bischoff on Nitro. And then, he joined the Four Horsemen. Now, Mongo turned heel kind of at the wrong time, because Mongo turns heel on Kevin Green at the Great American Bash. If you remember, they had that match. He hits Kevin Green with the halberd.
Yep.
And inside it was money and a Horseman t-shirt. So he's a part of the Four Horsemen. But Hogan turns the next month at Bash at the Beach. So when Hogan turns, it's kind of like you forget Mongo turned.
Exactly.
I mean? So, kind of tough break for Mongo. But this match here told a story because, once again, the story was Kevin Sullivan versus Chris Benoit. And people, I'm telling you, if you have the WWE Network on Peacock or wherever it is that you're listening to the show right now, one match on a pay-per-view that you need to go watch is Chris Benoit versus Kevin Sullivan, the Great American Bash, 1986, when they went into the bathroom. They fought all over the building.
Yep.
You can check it out. And then another one was Clash of Champions, one of the Clash of Champions shows from 97 when they were in Milwaukee. They once again fought in the bathroom. You need to check those matches out and really understand the Benoit versus Kevin Sullivan angle, because that angle is the reason why Sullivan and Woman got a divorce to begin with.
Yep.
Because Benoit and Nancy, Woman, started seeing each other for real. So basically, the man wrote his own damn divorce.
Life imitating art.
Exactly. Triple H and China, or Triple H, Stephanie, and China, and that whole debacle. So,
Yep.
But yeah, Faces of Fear, top tag team. Wish they would have did more. I don't think that Faces of Fear ever held the World Tag Team titles in WWE.
No, and it's a damn shame because they were phenomenal. I really did like them as a tag team.
Yeah. Yeah, they were excellent, man.
Yeah, they were. I was so mad when they split them up, man.
I don't understand that.
I was so mad.
Like I never got that. Ming and the Barbarian. I mean, Ming, they could go on their own, but together that was a.
Oh my God! It spoke for itself.
Yeah,
it spoke for itself.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they definitely should have held gold and didn't. Yeah, so
sure did.
Yep.
They never did. They came close though, because you remember they had a tag team match for the World Tag Team titles. They had two chances. The next month at World War III, it was a triangle tag match. It was Hall and Nash versus Hall and Nash versus Nasty Boys versus the Faces of Fear. And then they had Starrcade '96. They wrestled Hall and Nash. But let me segue here real quick to the Nasty Boys. Let's talk about the Nasty Boys right quick. So if people remember around this time in WCW, the Nasty Boys were attempting to join the NWO, and they had showed up on the NWO's hotel. They were at the NWO was at the Marriott one night. They were kicking it with Kyle Petty, and they were there. And that's the night that Hogan wore the infamous Hollywood's Wolfpack shirt that pissed off Hall and Nash. Told Hogan, "Don't ever wear that shirt again. You're not in the Wolfpack, boy. The Wolfpack is us three right here. We're the Wolfpack. It's not Hollywood's Wolfpack." So go find that story when Scott Hall and Kevin Nash talk about checking Hogan about that shit. But anyways, so the Nasty Boys were trying to join the NWO. They actually joined the NWO for a minute, and then they got kicked out of the NWO. And I don't know how that story helped anybody, because it made the Nasty Boys look like straight chumps when Hogan turned on them. Because if you remember, Hogan told him, he says, the Nasty Boys were talking about how many zeros were missing on that paper. And Hogan says, "Do you see my signature anywhere on here? I didn't sign this. So if I didn't sign this, then you two shouldn't be wearing those shirts." And then, Knob says, "What the hell are you talking about? What I'm talking about is you don't wear the colors unless we tell you." And then they beat the shit out the Nasty Boys. So, yeah.
Filthy work. I love it.
Yeah. It's basically just to further establish just how much of a shitbag Hulk Hogan was at the time.
Yeah.
That he would do that, because he already did. Now the Nasty Boys were dumb anyways, because Hogan already did this to the Booty Man at Hog Wild. And he already did that to Brother Brutai. He had already did that to him. And that was supposed to be his boy. So if he did that to his best friend, what do you think he's going to do to you? He told y'all.
Shit out of his best friend.
He told y'all.
But it did establish him as like, I will go to any length. And we hadn't seen that. We hadn't seen that from Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, it established that I will go to any lengths. and I have no loyalty to anyone
To
except
no one but me.
for me. Exactly.
Yeah. But I think that's what made him cool.
Yeah.
The fact that at that time, well, at least at that time, like the anti-hero was in.
Well, but see, that's the thing with Hogan. See, Hogan, I don't think was really trying to be a anti-hero or trying to be like kind of cool hip like Hall Nash. I think Hogan was really trying to be the ultimate bad guy he could.
I think so too.
I don't. He wasn't worried about that. He wasn't worried about being cool. He wanted to be the big heel. He even said it. He says Hall and Nash were cool. I was the sole bad guy in the NWO. I tend to agree with that because Hall and Nash, they were heels, but were they really heels?
No, not really. Because even when they showed up, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's cool. But you know what I mean? Like with Hogan, it was like, damn, you broke my fucking heart, bro. Like,
right.
Like, why? Why did you do this? Man, fuck y'all. I've been doing this good guy, say your prayers. Man, fuck them vitamins.
Yeah.
And in the end, I liked it.
Yeah, like, exactly. And it's like, and he had a legitimate reason to why he did it.
He absolutely did.
But yeah, so yeah, that was a good match, and we kind of laid the foundation here of what the meaning of the match was with the Face of Fear and Benoit Malenko, what it was going to lead up to, and it was just basically to continue the feud between Kevin Sullivan and Chris Benoit, which basically the Dungeon of Doom and the Horsemen. And by this time, the Horsemen really were starting to suffer anyways. They were kind of phasing the Horsemen out a little bit. If you could tell on TV that that's what they were going, because the NWO was the main storyline now.
Yep. It was. Speaking of which, let's go to our co-main event. We have the Outsiders, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, versus the tag team champions, the Harlem Heat.
Yeah, so it's funny. So this entire time in WCW, Stevie Ray and Booker T had always been built from Harlem, New York. And they were managed by Sister Sherry.
Yep.
Scott Hall comes on TV and says, yeah, we're going to beat those two hillbillies from Texas. I'm like, oh, shit. Yeah. We're gonna beat those two country bumpkins from Houston at the pay-per-view. Is what. So I'm like, damn.
Harlem.
Right. But it's so different. It's so different. It's so different than Bob Backlund when Bob Backlund was feuding with Diesel. He says on TV now Vince McMahon and Shawn Michaels are doing commentary, and Bob Backlund says, and Kevin Nash, and then Shawn Michaels says, Kevin Nash, McMahon, you heard him. Kevin Nash.
Hey, man, shit happens.
Right.
Shit happens. But barring future, because in the moment it's like, what?
Oh, I got some breaking news for you. And this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the reasons why I don't get hyped anymore about announcements.
Oh Lord, what happened?
So,
well, he didn't say it was a big announcement.
It's just an announcement, an announcement that you could have made on Twitter, and whatever. AEW president and owner Tony Khan, alongside Nigel McGuinness, announced tickets for All In 2024 will go on sale December 1st. All In 2024 takes place on August 25th from Wembley Stadium.
When did they go on sale?
December 1st. So that was a big announcement.
That was the announcement. That's it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I was at SmackDown about 2 weeks ago, and they made a big announcement there too that tickets for Monday Night Raw will go on sale that night for March 4th, 2024.
I mean, it's not a bad announcement, but again, I'm leaning towards your side. Like, this could have been announced on Twitter.
It's about tickets going on sale for a show.
Yeah,
it's not about. That's not really important.
You're right.
building
You're right
this,
about
you're
that.
building this up to be like there's just some big announcement, like it could be potential earth shattering, and it's nothing.
I don't know if he put that much stock into it, but I get announcing that you will or putting out that you have an announcement to make makes it seem important.
If I have an announcement to make, it would be simply this: where is Obi-Wan?
Stop. Where is Padme?
Yeah, I did that. I did that too. Is she safe? Is she all right? I couldn't have. She was alive. I felt it.
That's funny. That's funny as fuck. But anyway, let's jump back into this match.
Yeah, let's
so
jump into it.
So we have the Outsiders versus the Harlem Heat tag team championship match. This would be the Outsiders' first win, correct? The first
That's correct. Tag team
championship, tag team win.
That's correct.
So, and from what I remember, Colonel Parker was involved in this match, and I'm trying to remember why.
Okay, so Colonel Parker was the co-manager of the Harlem Heat. So remember him and Sister Sherry they were kind of married. Remember that they got married.
Oh I forgot about that.
Yeah, so they had a little thing going on in public. So so what happened is Harlem Heat they were doing their spots, and the finish came when Colonel Parker got in the ring and Nash grabbed the cane. He grabbed Colonel Parker's cane and he hit Stevie Ray with it twice. And fucking Colonel Parker got straight out the ring and ran to the back. And Scott Hall covers Stevie Ray with the 1, 2, 3, and there you go. Your new WCW World Tag Team Champions, Hall and Nash, the Outsiders. They win the match.
Yep.
And Harlem Heat never got a rematch.
Nope.
Yeah, that was a good
match.
Which
they should have. Yeah, they should have got a rematch. But that was a good match. That really was a good match.
That was a hell of a match.
It was. Not too long. Yeah. Not too long, but yeah, it was a great match.
Yeah.
From what I remember, it wasn't that long ago.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, it packed all the elements of the story of what they were telling.
Right.
Those two hillbillies from Houston taking on the big man and the medium-sized man. Yeah.
I got a big surprise for you, man.
Yeah, Chico. Yeah, Scott Hall had Chico written on his tights and on the front of him, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you play WWE 2K23 or WWE 2K22, the attires that Hall and Nash are wearing in that game are basically modeled after Halloween Havoc 96. That's what they're wearing. Yeah.
Dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, and 2K, if you're listening, can you please update the shit? Can you fix Scott Hall's tights with that crooked ass N on the back?
They don't care. they don't care. I'm here to tell you now.
Yeah, and that's the problem. See, if it was me, it's called quality control. If I'm putting a game out there and I want people to pay $70 for this fucking game or $100-something for it, I want to make sure that the damn thing is perfect. I want to make sure it's right, so people can keep coming back to buy the next game.
Nah, bro, it's called Come Back Next Year. See if we fixed it.
Yo, come back next year with the same crooked ass N.
Yeah, buy 2K24.
Because that crooked ass N was in 2K22, and it got transferred over to 23. So they ain't fixing shit. They can't even update the legends. Like, damn, dude, is this the only version of the Macho Man Randy Savage you guys have? You're going to use? Can I get the Macho Man from WCW, some of those costumes? Can I get other costumes for the Ultimate Warrior?
Nope.
Can I get the Undertaker to come out with the right music?
Nope.
Fuck.
Nope, not at all.
Shit.
It's called Come Back Next Year and see if we have made our fixes.
This is the reason why I play 2K23 and I go to community creations and I go and see what the people have made. And
that's what you're better off doing.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's exactly what I do. Like right
That's
now, I
what
got
you
I got
are.
Ultimate Warrior on there with Macho Man, and they got their I got the attires there when they were the Mega Maniacs.
Mm.
You know, no, I'm sorry, not the Mega Maniacs, the Ultimate Maniacs. The Mega Maniacs with Brutus, Beefcake, and Hogan. You know what I meant?
Yep.
Brother.
But yeah, good shit. Speaking of Hogan, let's go to our main event. Hulk Hogan versus the Macho Man Randy Savage for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, so if you remember correctly, Hogan must have took a lot of Rogaine for this match because motherfucker came out with a buzz cut.
Yep.
And I'm like, what the hell? When we saw that, right? I mean, I was like, no, Hogan, can't take you with hair, brother, especially hair like that. You know, I always thought Hogan was probably thinking to himself when he was a heel and Hall and Nash be out there and Hall and Nash had the cool hair. And Hogan was like, damn, brother, I wish I had hair like that. You know, we're out there, you know, just I can't see it.
Nah, bro.
Can't see it.
Let that shit go. You ain't had hair since Rocky 3, bro.
Right. Now, big fan of Hollywood, big fan of Macho Man, but I'm going to tell you right now, this match was shit. This was not a good match.
This was not a great match.
No, it wasn't even a good match.
You built the pay-per-view up to this match for this match to not live up to it.
Yeah, it didn't deliver. It just did. And I don't know whose fault it was, but to me it just didn't work. Yeah. So.
I wanna chalk this up to Hogan.
I think it's both.
Yeah. You could put some of that on Macho too.
Yeah. It was both of them because we're not going to get the match they had back in '89. No. You know what I'm saying? That's what's going to happen. But the whole point of this match was basically to further the story with Miss Elizabeth and Macho Man. If you remember before this, Macho Man, found out Elizabeth had pretty much joined the NWO.
Right.
He found it out at a hotel when the NWO was there at the hotel room with Liz, and Liz comes out the hotel and she's talking about, or she has a contract in her hand. And Macho Man sees it and he was like, "You gotta be ribbon. You gotta be ribbon. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch." He was like, this is the last time. He's like, "You did this to me." So yeah, that's kind of what they're going with here. So yeah, this wasn't a good match. It's a passable match, but the match basically was filler because they had to put Macho Man in the main event because of the Slim Jim sponsorship. Remember, Slim Jim is the ones who sponsored Halloween Havoc. Exactly. So in saying that, Slim Jim actually has a very big sponsorship today with WWE. So
they do.
That's a big thing there. So hopefully moving forward, on the games, the 2K games, if they put them out, they don't have to put their logos anymore because they actually are sponsored by, Slim Jim. But anyways, so the match here was basically to tell the story moving forward of where they're going to go with WCW because at this point, Macho Man's contract actually was up at WCW. His contract was done. So Macho Man was going to go away for a while. He had some nagging injuries he wanted to take care of. So Macho Man was going to be off WCW television until around January when he would come back. January 97 is when Macho came back. It was on Monday Nitro from Chicago at the United Center. Macho Man came out at the beginning of the show. He would then be joined by Sting. And then Macho Man would officially join the NWO at Super Brawl 97 when he helped Hollywood Hogan defeat Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper makes his debut here for WCW. And it was a good segment between him and Hogan. Piper out there, spitting some facts to Hogan. Hogan spitting some facts to Piper. And Hogan delivered one of the most infamous lines I ever heard him say, and it was great. He says, "Oh, by the way, Piper, when you go to the bathroom, when you leave, when you go to the bathroom, you're supposed to squat in that one because he's wearing that damn kilt."
Yep.
So Piper says, "Let me tell you something." No, let me tell you something. You're messing with Hollywood Hogan and the NWO. You step back into my world, I can still see you got the makeup on your face, Piper. And when I look in your eyes, maybe we need to have the war that didn't sow the score. What do you think about that? You know what I think about it? I'm the reason you got no hair, and what you gonna do about it? Yeah. He's like, "Your day is coming, Piper. Let's go, Giant. Take your hands off me, Sprout." Talking to the Big Show.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Great introduction.
Hell yeah.
Great introduction.
But but the thing about it was so that segment continued because Piper had the belt. and Hogan and Giant go back in the ring for the belt. And then Piper is talking to him, and he starts talking about Liz. He says, "I caught your act, grabbing Liz by the hair and all this." And they never, like, WWE has that tape somewhere because the pay-per-view feed gets cut there because they're out of time. But he was still doing his promo, and they were supposed to show the rest of his promo the next night on Monday Nitro. And it didn't happen. But let me tell you something about the next night on Nitro that was interesting too. The very next night on Nitro was the introduction to the Crow Sting sitting in the Raptors. They were in Phoenix, Arizona for Nitro
that night. Yep.
And it was, I think, the beginning match, the first match of the night was Lord Steven Regal versus Juventud Guerrero. And up in the top, you see Sting sitting there. And Sting is wearing a black T-shirt that says FX Studios on the front, and he's at the Crow face paint. And people are down there, they started looking up at him. And there you go. That was the introduction of the Crow Sting. So there you go, man.
The beginning of a year-long build.
Yep.
We might need to cover that one next.
Yeah, we probably will.
We might need to cover that one next. But overall, what do you give this pay-per-view?
I give Halloween Havoc 1986 a 7 out of 10.
Out of 10, we're going to use the 10?
Yep, 7 out of 10.
I think 7's fair.
Yeah.
I was gonna go 7, 7.5, 8.
Yeah.
I think 7's fair.
Yeah, I'm going with 7 because it was actually the very first pay-per-view I ever ordered. It was a birthday gift for me, so it's very special, near and dear to my heart. So I'm gonna give it a 7.
That's funny because the one 97 is the first one that I ordered.
Okay.
I watched 96 at a friend's house, but 97 was the first one I actually.
Well, so back in the day, we used to be able to click the channels back and forth or whatever. When you did that, you could watch the scrambled feed of the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
So that's how I used to watch them. And I'm like, can I order this one? So yeah, it wasn't bad, man. 25. What was it? $25, something like that. 25 or 20? Yeah, 20. No, $27.95. Halloween Havoc.
Yep.
Come a long ways from that. Now, shit, AEW wants what, $60 or some shit.
They're 49,
49, $50 for a wrestling show.
Yep. And now WWE is like a cheat code, but I would imagine if you broke it down, you'll probably be paying about the same.
Yeah, and there are some places where they still offer WWE on traditional pay-per-view, but who's stupid enough to do that?
True. You might as well get that Peacock.
Yeah, you got that Peacock or you got that WWE network, outside the United States. That's what it is.
Yep. So, but yeah, overall, this is one of the better Halloween Havocs. Again, because it followed one of the best times in professional wrestling history. This was, looking back at it, like, in the moment, you just knew something was happening, but looking back at it, you see how special it is.
Right.
And how fun it is to look back at. So very, very fun pay-per-view.
Yeah, definitely.
Very, very fun pay-per-view. All right, man. Final shots. What you got?
Final shouts is check out the DFPN on the Patreon. $3. Check it out. Join it. We got the United States Department of Nerds. You got the No Gimmicks podcast. You got the Patio with Kim. You got the Salute podcast. You got the Queens of Nerdom. You got everything out there. You got a variety for only $3 on the Patreon. So go subscribe today. Give us a shot. You feel what I'm saying? You can get it for a month. If you don't like it, hey, you ain't got to pay for it no more. You can tell us the reason why you don't want it. You feel what I'm saying? So that's all it is. Check us out on YouTube as well, the DFPN YouTube channel, where you can see full episodes, also some clips on there. We're also on the Facebook page, the No Gimmicks Podcast on Facebook, the Smoke Pit on Facebook, the USCN on Facebook. We're all on there. Just look for DFPN, and you will find the links to every single group that we have on there. And pretty much other than that, help control the pet population, have your pets spayed or neutered. And that's pretty much it. All
right, man. From here, we got Mission Pro Wrestling. They just announced their first match. And Bougie Reality is making their return to the promotion, and they are going to be in action, putting their belts on the line. So make sure December 9th is Silver Bells 3, Mission Pro Wrestling. I will be making a drive back up there or back down there for the event. So make sure you guys get your tickets at missionprowrestling.com. We will be sponsoring again. So make sure you guys go tune into that. Also, make sure you're following us. We do have a Twitter feed, No Gimmicks DFPN on Twitter and IG. We're starting to pick up a little bit of steam on both of those. So make sure you follow us, give us a follow, and I have nothing else. You got anything else?
Yeah, real quick. So Raj Giri of Wrestling Inc. just said this. He says, obviously, there's nothing wrong with announcing all-in ticket details, but promoting it as an important announcement just makes fans lose faith in these. You can just say you'll announce all-in ticket sale details and leave it at that. We'll see if this works for ratings. They seem to mean less and less each time. Hashtag AEW Dynamite. I totally agree with that. That's exactly what I was just saying.
I can't say he's wrong.
Yep.
I cannot say he's wrong.
Yep. So.
And that's probably going to be the general consensus, which that's a whole nother show on its own, man.
Yep.
It's a whole nother show on its own.
Yep. Next show that we're going to do right here, and I don't know, I'll get with Blak and see when we'll do it. But we're going to talk about AEW and their attendance and some ideas that we have to fix this. So you might want to take a listen to the next episode of No Gimmicks Podcast. Also, don't forget, rate the show. Leave us a 1-star. Leave us 2 stars. Leave us that 5-star that we know we deserve. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Leave a review. Let's get the No Gimmicks Podcast charting and moving us up, because, like I said before, nobody is doing what we're doing. We're not a podcast that's kissing ass. We're not a podcast that's taking names. We're a podcast that's doing what we do, and that's 100% real all the time. And that's what you get here on No Gimmicks Podcast right here on the DFPN. So check it out once again. $3. Patreon, $3.
That's
right?
it.
1, 2, 3. That's it.
That's it. That's all we got to say, man. That's enough. All right. So until next time, be easy and enjoy the fucking wrestling. Peace.
And I know it's all business, all business, all business. We give them no gimmick. Yeah. And I know it's all business, all business, all business. We give them no gimmick. Yeah. And I know it's all business, all business, all business. We give them no gimmicks.